Joe Patrick here, Dirty South Soccer, here at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground, where we just got to watch a little bit of Atlanta United train ahead of their game this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. against the Columbus Crew, a team they've had quite a bit of success with over the last couple seasons in MLS. Let's get first to the injury updates. Frank de Boer confirmed that Pity Martinez, his injury is not quite as bad as I think some of us had feared. He did confirm it was a hamstring injury, and you know, when those things tend to happen, you always fear for the worst. But he was at training today. He was jogging around the field. He's not going to be with the team or in the matchday squad for the game against Columbus, but he looks to not be in such serious trouble, and he should be back with the team shortly, along with Florentine Pogba and Kevin Kratz, who are also day-to-day. They're questionable as to whether they will be with the team this weekend. On more longer-term injury news, George Bello, not looking as good for him. I think they just want to be very careful with his groin issue that he's been having. He's listed as week-to-week officially, and then Chris Goslin is a guy who is a first-team player, but he has just not been able to train with the first team or with the second team basically yet at all this season. So he's still getting worked up from his baseline. Now let's talk about what some of the players and coach had to say today. Interestingly, Tito brought up the fact that today he thought that this team in training looked like the team of the last couple years. Tactics are still coming along, but he said that this team looks like they're playing with a little bit more freer flow and some more confidence in training today. Frank de Boer, I asked him about, you know, the team has kept so much possession over these 3 games that they've played in MLS, whether that matters to him. Is that something that he looks for as a marker as to whether the team is performing well or not? And he said no. You know, he said he would prefer his teams to have possession. If he had to choose whether he does or does not have possession, he wants the ball, but he mainly wants to create chances. And he knows that the team has not been good enough at doing that so far this season, and he hopes that it's something that can progress over this next few games, starting here with Columbus this weekend. Finally, to wrap things up, Julian Gressel did talk about his contract negotiations, basically confirming the story that Doug Roberson published in the AJC last week, or this week I should say, basically stating that contract talks have stopped, but he said he wants to be part of this team long term. He wants to sign a long-term deal, but yeah, that's the way these kind of negotiations work. One last note is this week I've noticed that the training fields have been painted very specifically, as you will see right here, which is a Guardiola philosophy that stems all the way back to Johan Cruyff, obviously a Dutch legend who Frank de Boer has drawn inspiration from. You can see with the field painted this way how specific and precise Frank de Boer wants his teams to be, and Tito Villalba, who I asked about it, said that that Frank de Boer is focused on these zones a lot, and you know, it's just something that the team is coming to terms with, and I think that kind of can help explain why it's taken some time for this team to get used to some of the tactical nuances under Frank de Boer's system. So just thought that was an interesting note to point out, to leave you guys with. Hopefully you guys can enjoy the game this Saturday. Hopefully we all get to see Atlanta United score some goals, create some chances, and get on the board early, and hopefully they can bring it home a win. Like I said, they haven't lost ever in Columbus. Their only loss to Columbus was, well, they had one preseason game where they lost, but then they all had one game that was a little more important that they lost. It was no fun. Anyway, we will see you guys for the next video next week, and hope you guys enjoy the game.